Authorities say an Indiana homeowner, Kurt Anderson, has been charged and is being held in connection with the shooting death earlier this month of a cleaning woman police say went to the wrong home for the job, and the homeowner opened fire through the front door. Investigators determined that the homeowner's actions did not fall under Indiana's Stand Your Ground law. Kent Eastwood is Boone County prosecutor.
After a comprehensive examination, the Boone County Prosecutor's Office has filed one count. That count being voluntary manslaughter, which is to knowingly kill while acting under sudden heat as a level 2 felony.
In Northern California, prosecutors filing formal charges against Cedric Irving in connection with the fatal shooting of legendary football coach John Beam at Laney College.
Murder with a firearm enhancement is a charge against Cedric Irving. The 27-year-old is accused of targeting Laney College athletic director and coach John Beam last week, shooting him in the head on campus. Police have not released a motive, but say the two knew each other, but Irving did not play for Beam. Irving faces 50 years to life in prison if he's convicted. Beam was well known in the San Francisco Bay Area and was the focus of a Netflix documentary series for the number of young men he coached who went on to the NFL. Alex Stone, ABC News.
France and Ukraine have signed a weapons partnership aimed at giving Ukrainian forces state-of-the-art fighter jets for the next decade. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
Good afternoon. It's now 4:05, and I'm Will Feelwright with your local headlines just ahead of KBNU's For the People show. Well, the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office has declined to file sexual assault charges against Tim Ballard, the former CEO of Operation Underground Railroad, citing insufficient admissible evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, District Attorney Sim Gill recognized the bravery of the women who had come forward within what he called important and compelling statements, but he noted that evidence to corroborate their claims was unavailable. Now, Ballard quietly left the anti-human trafficking nonprofit amid reports of sexual misconduct, which OUR later deemed as permanent separation. Now, he also was excommunicated by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for morally unacceptable behavior. Meanwhile, a suspect in the South Salt Lake shooting last week was taken into custody following a brief standoff involving a SWAT team. Detective Ryan Alvarez with the South Salt Lake Police Department said the incident began when officers were monitoring the unidentified suspect and followed a vehicle that was traveling toward Magna. Now, officers then initiated a traffic stop. The suspect, who was in the passenger seat, reportedly refused to exit the car for a short time. Now, since a unified police department SWAT team was already assisting in the investigation, they were on hand to safely take the suspect into custody without further incident. And a man who participated in the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riot and later received a pardon from President Donald Trump has now been arrested on felony charges stemming from a 2018 kidnapping and sexual assault in Utah. Now, John Emmanuel Bananos, a 40-year-old, was arrested last month on a warrant from Salt Lake County. Now, he remains jailed in Illinois. Bananos was arrested in March of 2024 for his role in the Capitol siege, where FBI agents said the surveillance video showed him firing 2 shots into the air. Now, in Utah, he faces felony charges of aggravated kidnapping and aggravated sexual assault. A woman had told police that he had drugged and sexually assaulted her for over 12 hours. And finally, in NBA action last night, what a night for the Utah Jazz, as it took overtime to do it. But the Jazz winning in double overtime over the Bulls, 115-147, as Keontae George hitting a three-pointer in the final seconds.
Keontae inbounding. It's immediately to Collier, uncontested. Markkanen sets a pick. Collier veers to his right. 4 seconds. Hands to Key. 3. Good! Keontae George with .8 seconds left. Keontae George with a kill shot.
The Jazz winning for the second time in 3 games after losing 6 of 7. They now head to Los Angeles to take on the Lakers coming up tomorrow night, while tonight the Utah Mammoth are in Anaheim to take on the Ducks. Well, temperatures have been in the low 50s today. Tonight we'll see clouds continuing overnight as temperatures will drop into the low 30s. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds again on Tuesday. Temperatures around 53. Then we'll see a chance of some rain on Wednesday. Sunny skies returning on Thursday. And another chance of showers coming on Friday. And weather this hour is brought to you by Roof Rescue. For 10 years now, they've been providing watertight peace of mind. Remember them for all of your roof needs. Whether it's a minor repair or a complete roof replacement, it's Roof Rescue. And I'm Will Feelwright with your KVNU local headlines.
We all have that one spot. No matter how much you diet or exercise, it's still there. Whether it's your belly, your arms, or your thighs. At Bell Sculpt, we help you finally get rid of it. Our advanced body sculpting and cosmetic surgery options target those stubborn areas for good, giving you the confidence you've always wanted. Call Bell Sculpt today or visit bellsculpt.fm to book your free consultation. Bell Sculpt, your body, your way.
When news breaks, we break in. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Finding effective and affordable insurance solutions can be stressful. This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. As a kid growing up, my father, Gordon, took care of my insurance, and I knew I never needed to worry. I was covered. I've continued to provide that same service for my clients at Quality First. My team of experienced agents work hard to ensure every customer gets the help they need. Let's sit down and take the stress out of your insurance. Call us today, 435-752-0101.
Not sure what to give for a holiday gift for family or employees? How about a gift card to Beehive Pub and Grill? Receive a voucher for a free gelato with a $25 gift card purchase, or a voucher for a free burger or sandwich of your choice with a $50 gift card purchase. Take care of your coworkers, employees, and family with a gift card from Beehive Pub and Grill. Open 11 to 8:30 weekdays and 11 to 9 Friday and Saturday. Beehive Pub and Grill is perfect for the holidays.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM. Online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Monday, November 17th. I'm Jason Williams. Thank you for tuning into the show today. 48 degrees only. Yeah, it's a little chilly out there. 48 degrees here at 4:11 in the afternoon. As you heard from Will there, we do have cooler temps this week, getting back up into the 50s at least, and pretty moderate overnight. But some new snow in the mountains. Last night I noticed the Salt Lake City National Weather Service was reporting a few inches of snow at Beaver Mountain overnight or over the weekend. There was, I guess, a few little spotty storms that came through earlier in the weekend. But yeah, it's not opening day yet, but it is getting closer, I guess you should say. I have to say I admire the optimism of a couple of the ski resorts out there. Yeah, it's just they're crossing their fingers and they're hoping is basically what it comes down to. There are still a few sticking to their November 19th opening a couple of days from now. I'm not sure it's going to happen, folks. But again, admire your optimism. It is, if you want to check this out, if you're a skier, you're looking to see the dates and what might be at least the most hopeful opportunity. The best place to go is onthesnow.com. And again, Solitude is saying they're sticking to it. Everyone else has pushed back quite a bit. Snow Basin is pushed all the way back to November 28th. Brighton as well. Snowbird, November 27th. Some of the more hopeful Alta, Bryan Head, and Park City ski resorts are saying November 21st they'll be open. They've been making a lot of snow at some of these resorts that have the option to do that. And then they've gotten, again, just in this most recent storm system that came through, they were able to get, a few inches at some of these locations. Solitude, though, they're standing by it. They're saying they're going to open in 2 days. And last week, they posted some pictures. And again, my only response was, I admire your optimism, but they posted some pictures of some hillsides that had, patches of not the greatest snow, but snow that you could, I guess, ski down, take your skis off, walk 10 feet, then ski another slope. But they're standing by it. They're saying they will be open November 19th for the first skiers of the season. Other resorts, some of them have pushed way back. As I mentioned, Snow Basin has pushed back to November 28th for their opening date. And they're saying that might get pushed back one more week. Really depends on the weather and the temperatures. But the basic outlook here is that even for non-skiers, so far it has been a pretty wet fall. That's the ironic thing about this. A lot of folks have said, in fact, this came up during legislative interim meetings a couple of weeks ago, are we concerned about the water outlook heading into next year? Are we in a drought again? It was a very dry summer. It's actually been a relatively wet fall, but the temperatures have been so high, none of this is coming down as snow or snowpack. So, yeah, there is some concern. Of course, it's still early in the season. It's not atypical for Utah to not really have a lot of snow. No snow on the valley floors and only a few feet in the mountains until mid-December, even end of December some years. We've had a lot of not white Christmases in Utah, right? So nothing alarming yet, but so far it's been a very wet fall. Those reservoirs have replenished, quite a bit, at least, if not fully in some cases. And it's just not been a very cool fall. It's been a very warm fall. So continuing on here, Deer Valley, Sundance, and Nordic Valley Resort are all saying, early to mid-December for their opening date, 1st, 5th, and 12th, respectively. Powder Mountain also setting December 12th for their opening date. Beaver Mountain and Eagle Point have, at the time being, they have set their opening dates for December 19th, so basically a month from now is when Beaver Mountain and Eagle Point expect that they'll be able to open. So we'll see. But I'm keeping a close eye on Solitude and the optimists there. Solitude Mountain Resort saying they will be open for skiers in 2 days, Wednesday, November 19th. So we'll see if it happens. Again, the images they shared last week didn't make you think that the odds were high. We'll put it that way. A lot to get to on the show today. Governor Cox and a team made a big announcement today. This was part of a press conference that took place to announce what they're calling a nuclear partnership. And the partnership is meant to further Governor Cox's Operation Gigawatt is what he's calling it. And Operation Gigawatt is a statewide effort from Governor Cox's office and the Office of Economic Opportunity under the governor's purview. The legislature has been a part of this as well. But they announced a partnership, a business and government partnership that they said is one of the most major steps Utah has taken towards nuclear energy. Short and sweet of this, again announced as part of Governor's ongoing Operation Gigawatt, a business in Brigham City with some help from the state is going to be deploying what they call an advanced nuclear technology in general. But one of those is, we've talked about here on the show, Holtec's SMR 300 small modular reactor. This is pretty big, and we'll be joined later on in the show by Brigham City Mayor, who's been a part of this from the start, or at least in the loop on this from the start. The governor said today energy security is not only good for our home power bills, but it's national security, and Utah is stepping up to lead on that front. Cox said as global competitors like China and Russia race to dominate next-generation energy, Utah is proving that America continues to lead through innovation and strength. The governor has been very clear. He's not a fan of the anti-solar and wind element of current federal policy and, rhetoric to that notion coming from his own party. He has said Operation Gigawatt is an example of what we need to do, and that is everything. So the governor has pushed solar, wind, geothermal, and more. But he's probably the prominent politician, elected official, whatever word you want to put there. Governor Cox, I think, is right now one of the most vocal proponents of nuclear energy. And he's getting a lot of criticism for that. But he seems to be focused on these more innovative approaches like this SMR 300. It's called Small Modular Reactor. And this is just the next step in all of that. But first, in northern Utah. So Brigham City Mayor Bott will be joining us, who did note at the press conference today that Brigham City, this isn't a first for Brigham City, being on the cutting edge of energy. He said it was Brigham City was one of the early hydroelectric power adopters and developers, and that they're just continuing that same approach when it comes to dipping their toes into this advanced nuclear technology. And he said with the positioning of northern Utah's aerospace and defense corridor as well, Brigham City is the most well-suited in the state to take this first step. So the project itself, the governor said today, is a combination of about $750 million in private investment, 1,300 projected Utah jobs in phase one. Now, that means the number of jobs could go down or up. We don't know. But phase one, 1,300 jobs. When they get to phase two and get out of the development and R&D side and into the implementation, you could actually see that grow. And they said at the press conference today that the project will undergo full state and federal review. They're not skipping any steps here. And that does include NEPA, National Environmental Policy Act, the governor said. It will also undergo the typical U.S. Nuclear Reactor Regulatory Commission oversight and review. And in accordance with Utah's own Department of Energy Quality, DEQ, they said the industry bodies, representatives of that body will be working hand in hand with the private company and private investors to ensure high standards of safety, transparency, and public trust. The governor said something really interesting today, and we'll have a chance to talk more with Brigham City Mayor Bott about this on the other side of the news this hour. But the governor said, he's mentioned this before. He said one of the issues that has held nuclear energy back is understandably the public's concern over safety. And everybody in theory thinks, nuclear energy is great and definitely a part of combating climate change. I've said it many times. If you, like me, believe in the science of climate change, believe that it is an urgent concern, and really believe that, you don't get any do-overs with your own planet, we need to get the warming of the planet under control as soon as possible. And I don't see how we can do that without nuclear energy. I don't think it's realistic. Solar has made great advancements. Battery technology is amazing now. Same with wind. And that's going to be a big part of it. But to get there as fast as we need to, you're going to have to put as much nuclear on the line as possible. And everyone agrees, but no one wants it in their own backyard. And the governor said today that he wants Utah to do another thing, which is restore national public trust in nuclear energy. He said, we can do this in a way that will wrap the public's head. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't use these words, but he said, we can do this in a way that is so transparent and so reassuring that we can literally change the national mood when it comes to nuclear energy and get people to wrap their heads around the idea that this can be done safely. These small reactors have a much smaller level of risk. These reactors, individual reactors, are not large enough to cause a Chernobyl. And the governor said, you know, that's not even going to be an option because the advances in technology when it comes to nuclear energy safety have progressed so much. But no one wants to talk about it. It was a fascinating press conference. Again, coming up on the other side of the news at the bottom of the hour, this hour, we'll speak with Brigham City Mayor Bott about what this means for Brigham City, but also where things go. What's the next step in all this process after the announcement today? So stick around for that. We'll also get to a few days late, but Senator John Curtis from Utah, of course, and a Republican, and Senator from Arizona, Democrat Mark Kelly, took part in a joint talk, if you will. More than a TED Talk, but along those lines. It was about an hour long. It was part of a subscription-only CNN service. So unfortunately, not everyone got to see it when it broadcast live. But it was part of a conversation about the political landscape with political violence, some of the rhetoric you see out there, concerns over, in fact, just in Utah today, the KSL had a report that the judge in the big redistricting ruling has received death threats from Utahns. I mean, this is way out of control, and that's what they were talking about. What can we do about it? We've got audio of that for you as well, courtesy of some friends in Senator John Curtis's staff. So all of that coming up as For the People continues here on KVNU Logan.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Join us all month long for the Season of Giving sales event at Murdoch Hyundai. It's time for us to say thanks the Murdoch way by giving back to the community that has given us so much. During the Hyundai Getaway sales event, receive 0% for 5 years on the Tucson or Santa Fe. Every new Hyundai comes with America's Best Warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, and owner's assurance. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family. At Murdoch Hyundai in Logan, Linden, and Murray, and online at murdochhyundai.com.
Call 888-391-6083 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 11/30/25.
Sneezing in your own home? Blame your ducks, not your dog. John at the Duck Hunter says if your allergies are throwing a party in your sinuses, your air ducts might be the uninvited guest. Pollen, dust, and mystery fluff are just hanging out in there, waiting for your AC to blow them straight into your face. Call the Duck Hunter at 435-770-4813 for a quote on air ducts cleaning. Because breathing through your nose is highly underrated.
Are allergies affecting your day-to-day life? Intermountain Budge Clinic's Allergy and Immunology team can help. Drs. Scott Dixon and new provider Tyson Brown, the only board-certified allergists in the Valley, treat everything from seasonal and perennial allergies, asthma, food or drug reactions, hives, and more with personalized care. Don't wait for the next flare-up. Call 435-716-1820 or visit budgeclinicallergy.com to schedule your appointment. Intermountain Budge Clinic Allergy and Immunology. Breathe easier, live better.
The Top of Utah Snowmobile Association invites you to Snow Friday, the club's opening social, Friday, November 21st at the Cache County Fairgrounds Event Center. Doors open at 5, dinner is at 6, and one meal is included with your membership. Participate and help the Top of Utah Snowmobile Association raise funds and continue the great events and preservation projects they have scheduled for this year. Join the Top of Utah Snowmobile Association, Friday, November 21st, Cache County Fairgrounds Event Center. Find the Top of Utah Snowmobile Association on Facebook or visit topofutahsnowmobile.com.
Hey, you know, everybody's talking about the good old days, right? Everybody, the good old days, the good old days. Well, let's talk about the good old days. Come to think of it, as bad as we think
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Kind of a bittersweet bookend to an ongoing issue in Logan City that has led to everything from protests to packed public hearings at city council meetings to, conversations about water policy and the state's role in kind of dictating mandates to cities to accommodate, projected future growth. There are a lot of different angles to this one, if you will, but the official announcement came today that Logan City will be closing a stretch of Canyon Road east of Logan to begin today and to wrap up Friday, November 21st, 2 weeks from now, or a week from now. And that closure will be in effect from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and is necessary to accommodate the removal of the trees. This is, of course, part of the First Dam tank and waterline project. Short background on that project, the state has basically mandated to cities that they get ahead of infrastructure needs when it comes to water. Now, they've also done this when it comes to roads and housing planning and everything, but specifically in this case, the mandate from the state is forcing Logan to come up with plans for projected population growth, and that includes being able to get water from one place to another. So this project specifically, the First Dam Tank and Waterline Project, is to get water from First Dam. The water will come in, fill up a tank, basically, and then that tank in a gravity-fed system will pump, quote-unquote, with gravity, that water across the city to the west side. And again, that is good planning, really, projects like this, especially if you know that's where most of the growth is happening and going to continue to happen. But it's also something the state has instructed cities with threat of penalty that they will do as soon as possible. And I'm not criticizing the state for that. I'm saying that it's a relevant part of this conversation. The reason it's relevant is that, understandably, some residents are quite upset at the idea of removal of these trees. Now, the reason the trees have to be removed is that where the water line can go, unless you want to lose Canyon Road and a lot of other things and put the water line in the middle of that, where the water line is going to run, they're going to be cutting so far into the root system of some of these 100-year-old-ish trees along Canyon Road that arborists have told the city those trees will not survive. So the trees will die anyway, and then there'll be a public hazard, and they'll have to come down. So why not just take them down before digging for the pipeline begins? And so there was public pushback. And in fact, mayoral candidate Alana Nafziger ran basically on this issue. Now, of course, she wasn't successful. This was a pretty solid win for city council member, now mayor-elect Mark Anderson. And but she made this the focal point of her campaign, that they wanted the city to find alternative projects to achieve the same goal, get water, store water, move water, things like that, and leave these trees alone, citing, the character of the neighborhood. And I understand, and so did Mayor Daines while she was here, though she has said the city has no other options but this project. She did express understanding with the residents who are pretty attached to these trees. They've been there forever. I mean, unless you're over 100 years old, they've been there your whole lifetime. They're beautiful ash trees. They're very tall, and they have kind of some neat branch and leaf structure in the summertime. And it kind of brings it's a very cool look to that stretch of Canyon Road, where you've got these old trees and this little walking trail that goes nearby and then up the hillside. So it's an unfortunate thing, but arborists, again, have told the city, well, they also, it's worth pointing this out, they have also told the city that of the trees that will be removed, at least 2 of them are near dead anyway or dying soon. They have a lifespan. And they determined that 2 of the trees are not in great health and would likely have to come down anyway for public safety concerns. But the removal of these historic trees has been pretty controversial. It's been debated for months now, and it was opposed by a citizen advocacy group calling itself Canyon Road Coalition, whose members signed and circulated petitions and planted yard signs and backed Alana Nafziger as a candidate for mayor unsuccessfully, and city officials again, in multiple public hearings said, they determined the north side of Canyon Road was the most viable and cost-effective route for a state-mandated 42-inch pipe. This is going to be a huge water pipe that will carry water in a gravity-fed system from the hill there on First Dam to Logan's west side. So official today, the work started on bringing those trees down. And it's, again, bittersweet. It's the end of a divisive issue. And I believe probably, the smartest thing the city can do, really. But I'm sympathetic to the people who live in the area because I'm a fan of the trees, too, even though it's something I only drive by on the occasional trip through when I decide to enter Logan Canyon a different way, usually. Beautiful trees. I'm a big fan of leaving old growth when you can. I think one of the dumbest trends that ever took place, and thankfully is fading now, was for all the old growth to be cut down, and then these tiny little trees were planted in new developments and subdivisions and things like that. And so for a couple of decades, you've got no old growth that's creating a big, beautiful tree with massive shade and more. That said, old growth, it's old. It's more sensitive to snowfall and big branches breaking, and then eventually dies or sometimes dies. So there are trade-offs, but I'm still glad that trend has ended. So as a fan of old growth, as a fan of not cutting down if you don't have to, I think the city's making the smartest decision here because, again, the costs of alternative plans were astronomical. One of them, alternative plan, was literally to rip up Canyon Road, put the pipe underneath the road, and then rebuild the road, and it basically tripled the cost of the project. So, again, this is a state-mandated project. The state has said cities will do stuff like this in the next 5 years. They'll get the ball rolling at least, if not completing the projects. It's a 42-inch pipe that will carry a lot of water to the west side of Logan from First Dam, and in a gravity-fed system, which will also be cheaper to maintain long-term, the mayor told us. And the announcement was official today. Canyon Road closed until the 21st, starting today until Friday, November 21st. And that will be 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. as they remove those historic ash trees. Check it out. Full story on this with some photos of the trees as well and a map of the section of the road affected by this closure until the 21st at CashValleyDaily.com. On the other side, Brigham City Mayor Bott joins us to talk about his reaction to a big announcement from the state today. Governor Cox announcing a nuclear energy partnership that will be underway very soon in Brigham City. We'll talk about it with the mayor after these headlines with KVNU's Will Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. Birch Creek Golf Course donated $20,000 last week to the Cache Community Food Pantry, providing crucial support amid increased demand for food assistance during the holiday season. Now, the funds were raised through the annual Birdies for Backpack Golf Tournament that's organized by head golf professional Eric Clevin. Now, Clevin had funneled the money through his nonprofit AMK Foundation, which is named after his daughter, Ashlyn May Clevin, who was born with a disability. Now, the donation is an increase from the $18,000 that was raised for the pantry last year. Clevin's Foundation, which was formed 20 years ago, has helped to support various charities, including Shriners Hospital and organizations like Common Ground Outdoor Adventures here in Logan. Now, the timing of the donation is critical as the pantry has continued to see an increase in people needing food, especially due to the recent disruptions to the SNAP benefit program. In other news, a 44-year-old man arrested last week for allegedly stalking his ex-wife of 17 years and then posting altered AI-generated images of them together, including with a fictitious child on Facebook. Now, the man, who is not being identified to protect the victim, was arrested in Salt Lake County on 9 counts of electronic communication harassment and stalking, both third-degree felonies. According to police, the man had repeatedly contacted his ex-wife between October and this month. And a Highland couple have been charged now with 2 counts each of child abandonment, a third-degree felony, after allegedly locking their 17-year-old son out of the house for extended periods. Now, the investigation began over the summer in June when the parents, both 45, had left town for 6 days and told their son to sleep in the yard using a tent. Now, charging documents say that they left him with $41, minimal snacks, and then instructed him to use a hose for water in public places for a bathroom during the heat wave. Now, the family invited the teen to stay with them, but his mother later returned and threw away the clothes that they had purchased for the alleged victim. And a Sandy man has pleaded guilty to a reduced assault charge after a road rage confrontation with a runner back in December of 2024. William Kyle Hackett, a 54-year-old, pleaded guilty earlier this month to a Class A misdemeanor assault as part of a plea in abeyance. Now, the original charge of aggravated assault, a second-degree felony, was reduced, and a charge of property damage was dismissed. Now, the confrontation occurred when Hackett nearly hit the runner after failing to stop at a stop sign. Now, the runner struck Hackett's side mirror, prompting Hackett to exit his vehicle with a baton. Charging documents say that Hackett struck the runner in the head and broke his phone. The runner sustained injuries to his head and hand. Well, we've got clouds continuing through the rest of the afternoon and tonight as temperatures have been in the low 50s today. Tonight will drop to around 33 overnight, then be back into the low 50s for tomorrow with a mix of some clouds and sunshine. Temperatures going to stay right around the low 50s through most of this week with a chance of showers coming on Wednesday and then again on Friday. And bringing you our weather is Logan Extermination. Don't risk hanging Christmas lights this year, especially as we get closer to rainy and snowy weather. Just call the professionals at Logan Extermination, 752-8450. And I'm Will Feelwright for KVNU News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A vote in the House scheduled for tomorrow that would compel the Justice Department to release the full Jeffrey Epstein files. ABC's Catherine Falder says President Trump is now telling Republicans to vote in favor of the release after opposing it.
Specifically, what I'm hearing from sources is that they might just say information in the files that hasn't been released is covered by privilege, all sorts of various privilege disputes that the administration may try and get around. So it's not as though we will see these documents tomorrow or next month. While it is a reversal, it's a very specific reversal. It's just a reversal on what Trump is saying about how the House will vote because Trump already knows the ship has sailed on this vote.
Flight reductions put into place during the shutdown at 40 major airports have now returned to normal today. It comes as a record number of Americans are expected to travel over Thanksgiving. 6 million will fly. The Powerball jackpot tonight up to $570 million.
For some, this is the most wonderful time of the year. Yippee! For me, it's the worst time of the year because it's time to hang my Christmas lights. Come on! Last year, I fell off my ladder into the rose bush. The year before, my lights didn't work at all. Not this year. I'm using Logan Extermination. They can install my own Christmas lights or they can install their LED or incandescent lights. Enjoy the holidays and preserve your sanity by calling Logan Extermination. 752-8450.
Bringing Wall Street to Main Street. From your local experts in downtown Logan, this is the Adams Wealth Advisors Market Report.
Good afternoon. This is Mitch Green with Adams Wealth Advisors. Stocks started the week on a bad note as all major stock indices ended the day in red. This comes ahead of two major events, NVIDIA's earnings and the September jobs report, both of which can affect investor sentiment. The Dow Jones Industrial Average retreated 557 points to 46,590, while the NASDAQ posted a loss of 0.83% to 24,800, and the S&P 500 dipped 0.92% to 6,672. The decline was broad-based, with utilities being the only sector to post a gain today. The downturn was led by financials, energy, technology, and materials, all of which declined more than 1.5%. The other sectors ending in the red all posted losses of less than 1%. A flight to safety behavior was observed in conjunction with bond market performance, as both the U.S. 5-year Treasury yield and the 10-year yield declined by 1 basis point to 3.72% and 4.13% respectively. The seemingly small decline in Treasury yields relative to the larger drop in the equity market could be explained by an overall deleveraging across markets, as major alternative assets such as gold, Bitcoin, Ethereum, oil, and natural gas also posted losses. The market is currently tiptoeing around three major concerns. First, the December interest rate decision by the Federal Reserve, as hawkish members have expressed skepticism about a December rate cut. Second, uncertainty around the strength of the labor market, given limited visibility on the unemployment rate despite visible layoffs. And finally, growing skepticism around the AI story, which investors are questioning the valuations of AI-related companies. Tomorrow, we will have the Home Builder Confidence Index and August factory orders, which may paint a clearer picture of the state of the U.S. economy.
That's your update from Adams Wealth Advisors, guiding your financial future one day at a time. For personalized help planning yours, reach out to us at 435-752-1702. See you soon, Cache Valley. Advisory services offered through Adams Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. For important disclosures and more information, visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
Give your family everything. Give them your time. From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Let's be honest. When it comes to plumbing, crap happens. The good news? You've got a trusted friend who's been in your home for years. JM Mechanical, one of the biggest names in HVAC, knows plumbing. From faucets that drip to boilers and water softeners, the JM Mechanical plumbing team fixes problems fast and backs it up with guaranteed results. Call 563-6267 today. JM Mechanical Plumbing. They know plumbing.
Looking for the perfect gift for family or friends? Visit Cox Honeyland and Gifts on South Highway 89, Northern Utah's premier gourmet honey and gift store. Discover unique items like ornaments, Christmas decor, wreaths, figurines, homemade fudge, and honey popcorn, all in a variety of price ranges. Plus, choose from an assortment of honey varieties and create your own custom gift baskets in a relaxed atmosphere. Enjoy free gift wrapping and shipping anywhere you need. Sweeten your winter season at Cox Honeyland, 1780 South Highway 89. Call 752-3234 for more details.
Tuesday edition Clay Travis, Buck Sexton show. We'll be joined by Miranda Devine to talk some of the revelations about the would-be Trump assassin in her New York Post story, and also President Trump's son, Eric, all that and more. You won't want to miss it. Come hang with us on the Tuesday edition of Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM at 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Mid-show change-up in the schedule. Mayor Bott has been caught up in other responsibilities, city-related business for the time being, so he's not going to be able to join us at 4:40. We're going to postpone that to the start of hour 2, so he'll now be with us at 5:10. Again, Mayor DJ Bott of Brigham City joining us to talk about an announcement today on nuclear energy in Brigham City, specifically small modular reactor that is going to be developed as part of a partnership between the state and Governor Cox's Operation Gigawatt, and about $750 million in private investment to develop this cutting-edge nuclear technology in Brigham City. And it's a pretty big deal. Phase 1 of this single project, the governor said today, would be about 1,300 jobs. Whether that is, the number of jobs that are permanently created by an active nuclear reactor creating energy is another story, but development, installation, R&D development, because we're in the early phases here, about 1,300 jobs, the governor said. Pretty big news. So Mayor Bott wanted to talk about it. We're glad to offer that spotlight, but again, last-minute schedule changes. We're going to change things up here. Instead of him joining us now, he'll be with us in hour 2. So we'll flip-flop, and the conversation we're going to have in hour 2, we'll now have now. And this was part of an event that actually took place last week. Unfortunately, it took place on a CNN subscription-only service, so not as many people as probably should have got to see this. This is a conversation on political violence that took place as part of the CNN, again, subscription-only service, kind of like a town hall style event with Arizona Senator, United States Senator Mark Kelly, and United States Senator from Utah, John Curtis. Now, why these two talking about political violence? Well, John Curtis, of course, is a senator from the state where in September of this year, Charlie Kirk, a conservative activist and commentator, was murdered for his political views, a political assassination that took place at Utah Valley University in September of this year. Mark Kelly, senator from Arizona, is married to Gabby Giffords. And this is a kind of a long memory story here. If you don't remember who Gabby Giffords is, she was the victim as an elected official herself of a 2011 political shooting. And she's become quite a vocal gun control activist since, but including, she does this in a kind of a creative way. She goes out to gun ranges and talks to people who are fans of guns. She was severely wounded by a gunman that approached an outdoor press conference in 2011, and Gifford, an Arizona Democrat, was nearly killed and spent years in recovery, even learning to speak again. So Mark Kelly, of course, being married to her all this time, has a unique perspective on this. And then again, because of the unfortunate events here in Utah earlier this year, in September of this year, Senator John Curtis has, unfortunately, a unique perspective on this as well. They spoke for about an hour, but some of their comments were just, well, interesting. This is just a bit of the conversation. I've got the full audio here, but we'll only have time for some highlights. And this is courtesy of John Curtis's team. Thank you for that. But they recorded the event, and this little exchange, this is Senator Kelly and Senator Curtis talking about how the responsibility elected officials have that sometimes they neglect.
I think anybody in a position like ours in the United States Senate, in the House, in the White House, should be looking for opportunities to unite us, to bring us together, not further divide us. And language, when you have, I don't have 1 million followers on Twitter, but I think I got 500,000 or more than that. 500,000 people might see this. And then you apply the algorithm, and suddenly you got 17 million views on a video. You need to be responsible and careful for what you say, because those words, some people act because of them.
Yeah, I'd add to that. One of the duties of a new member of the Senate is to preside on the Senate floor. It sounds like an honor, but it's kind of like KP duty.
Yeah.
Right? And so I get a lot of time up there. As a matter of fact, they just gave me it's called the Golden Gavel for 100 hours of presiding up on the floor. And I will tell you, there are moments when I literally want to flip my chair around and turn my back to the speaker, both Republicans and Democrats.
And we're not talking about online, we're talking about on the Senate floor.
Yeah, both Republicans and Democrats. And I believe one of the problems, and by the way, I'm gonna give my colleague here a shout out. I've never once heard, whether on the Senate floor or otherwise, anything from him that even gets close to that line. So I think I wouldn't have invited him here, right, if I felt otherwise. So thank you for that. But I think also a very negative part of this is mastery of what I would call the half-truth, right? Like, no wonder they don't believe us, right? They take something and they put it in a speech and they just hammer it, and half of it is right? But half of it's not. And of course people don't trust us because they can tell when we're not doing the right thing. And I just wish that more people could do that. But what's happening is we are rewarding the wrong behavior. Those are their colleagues who make millions of dollars in donations. Those are our colleagues who have millions and millions of people follow them on these accounts. And one of the problems is the American people have to stop rewarding that kind of behavior.
How?
Stop following them, right? Stop sending them money. Call them out. I was in a parade just a few blocks from here with my grandkids in kind of this bicycle thing, and some guy in the crowd yells the obscenity at me. And he's surrounded by families, and not one person said a thing. Like, how is that okay? Look at the online comments that you see anytime we post anything online. You probably get this too, right?
Oh, yeah.
How is that okay? Why are we tolerating that? And I think this is where when that part of that look up in the mirror is, I'm going to speak out, right? I'm not going to let those things slide.
Well, with the exception of the guy at the parade, because he said this in person, most people online they're hiding
in the basement.
Yeah, they're hiding in the basement and they're anonymous. And it's very easy to say things you would never say publicly to a person if you're saying it in an anonymous fashion.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask about the president, because he is not known for holding back, and he has some pretty intense and sometimes vicious language that he uses online. So would you apply what you're saying to him as well as all of your colleagues in the Senate and elsewhere?
For me, 100%. I mean, I think... So I think the president uses just about every opportunity he can to drive that wedge between Americans, between Democrats and Republicans, and it's not healthy. And every day I wake up hoping, especially when something happens, especially when there's a significant event, like what happened here 2 months ago, and the memorial service that followed. I watched that and saw Erica Kirk get up there and forgive people, followed by the president who said that he hates his political enemies. Not healthy for our democracy. He's the president of the United States. People listen to him. They act on his words. More than anybody else in our country, Donald Trump's words matter.
It's a real thing, right? I can't respond to everything, so we carefully pick what we're going to respond to. My standard has always been Utah standards. Has something violated what I would call a Utah standard, if that makes sense? And when I do, hopefully that people see that I do speak out. But I also think this is a moment for a little self-reflection. Within a few percentage points during the last 3 presidential elections, half the country said yes to that man, right? So I do think that this is more a reflection, right, of who we are as a country than we are willing sometimes to admit.
Again, that was a conversation that took place last week between Utah State United States Senator John Curtis, former mayor of Provo, and former House representative from Utah as well, and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, who is speaking as the husband of Gabby Gifford, a Arizona lawmaker, Democrat, who was shot and nearly killed in 2011 when a gunman took fire at an outdoor public press conference, killing one of her staffers and nearly killing her. So both of them speaking from a unique perspective. John Curtis from the perspective of, the tragedy that happened here in Utah in September. Kelly from his personal experience and his wife's recovery that has taken years. And both of them saying, that we got to tone it down. And then, but John Curtis's point there at the end is interesting because he's also saying, the problem is probably larger than we think because, obviously the American people haven't rejected the way the two parties are approaching each other. In the last 3 presidential elections, slightly more than half of the country has elected the people who have been in the White House. He's referencing Trump, Biden, and Trump before him. And that, these are people that Curtis says have kind of exacerbated the all or nothing politics that is reflected on social media. Interesting conversation. You can watch the full hour via the link on our Facebook page. Thanks again to Curtis's team for getting me that audio since it was a subscription-only event. And we'll be back with more of For the People right after this.
Hi, this is Chad Norton at The Lawn Doctor. Just over a year ago, we lost a great man who happened to be my dad, who was an integral part of our business and worked for us for 8+ years. Stan had a passion for taking care of the hungry and those in need. So as we get ready for this holiday season, in his honor, we have started a campaign called Give a Can for Stan to benefit the local food pantry. Here are the ways you can donate. If you're a Lawn Doctor customer, we'll pick it up on your final service. Or if you see a Lawn Doctor van, please feel free to hand it to the technician. You can also drop it off at our offices here in Logan. Or go to the website giveacanforstan.org. Thanks for participating and give a can for Stan.
This is Jordan with Primrose Home Care and Hospice. As I visit with people on a regular basis, I see many things we can help with. Recent falls, balance training, knee, shoulder, and hip surgeries, memory loss, housekeeping, help with medications, and that's not all. We at Primrose offer the best care in any situation. A great example of this is our preventative care program. While working with your doctor and using our personal approach, we can help prevent many of these situations. For more explanation, visit primrosecare.com or call me at 787-1369. Primrose Home Care and Hospice. We're your home team.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru for Morris Columbus Travel and Norwegian Cruise Line. Enjoy more fun at sea with Norwegian, including a free air promotion, shore excursion credits, specialty dining, open bar, Starlink Wi-Fi, and on select cruises, the third and fourth person sharing your cabin sail absolutely free. You just pay the taxes. For the best travel deals on the planet, give us a call at Morris Columbus Travel.
Come on and get away, Morris Columbus.
Aggie basketball is heard here.
You know, there's a pride in this.
KVNU is your station for the best game day coverage. With pregame beginning 1 hour before tip-off, play-by-play and post-game interviews and Aggie call afterwards. It's Aggie basketball on News Talk KVNU 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at kvnutalk.com, and the KVNU mobile app, the heritage home for the Aggies.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Cold return, as my system just locked up. We had to switch the schedule up again today, so coming up in just a couple of minutes after the ABC News at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by Brigham City Mayor DJ Bott. He is excited to be a part of the big announcement today. Modular nuclear technology coming to Brigham City. Phase one of this project, Governor Cox said today, could be around 1,300 jobs. And, of course, years out before